Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. Today I am filming my ranking and review of the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I have all of them right here. I know it's been out for 10 years now, but I feel like it's just recently been getting more popular again because I didn't know about it at all 10 years ago. I found out about it 2 years ago. That's when I originally started A Court of Thorns and Roses. Was I think January of 2023. Took me 2 years to get through it. Let's just start the video by saying that 2 years to finally finish this book. I don't know why it took me so long, what the issue was. I will preface this by saying this was my first ever really fantasy series I've read. But since being an adult and getting back into reading, I haven't read fantasy before. It's been a lot of psychological thrillers and horror books. I don't know what my issue was with this book. It was so hard for me to get into. It took me 2 years. I picked it up again. I probably restarted it 3 or 4 times, and then I picked it up again in January of this year, and I was determined to finish it. I was like, I'm gonna finish this book. Finally, I'm gonna get through it. And I finished it in just a couple days, and it's not that the story's bad. I don't hate the story for this particular first book. I thought it was good. I enjoyed learning more about Feyre. I enjoyed seeing how she adjusted from being taken from her human life and put into the Fae and the fairy lands of I think it's Prythian. Let me look at the map. Prythian. That's what I was calling it, was Prythian, because that sounded more like fantasy than Prythian, so I was going by Prythian. I don't know if that's correct. I found out I was pronouncing Rhysand's name wrong. It's Rhysand, which I feel like that's a really ugly way to pronounce his name. I prefer Rhysand, so I'm gonna stick with that. Also, side note, I love a book that has a map. I just cannot get enough of a map in a book, and all the detail and everything put into it. Love it so much. It was so slow for me up until I think, because it's been 6 months almost since I read this, but up until Tamlin and Feyre finally linked, when Feyre got sent back to her human land because Tamlin was I can't risk her after Rhysand found out about her and Amarantha and everything. That's when I feel I was into it, and then she goes back and she gets captured and she's under the mountain and having to do all of this stuff. I love that. I love an action-packed book, and I think that was part of the issue, is this was just so slow to turn into an action-packed book. I feel like it was just the last little bit had action in it, and there wasn't enough throughout the book. I feel like it was very slow and then boom boom boom. So but overall I did enjoy this book. I will say it took me another 5 months to do the rest of the series because of how how much I was not into this book. I finished it in January. I didn't pick up the rest of the series till the end of April. I didn't start Court of Mist and Fury until the last week of April, and then I finished the rest of the series in 1 month. So I feel the rest of her books did it for me. I don't know what it was about this. I don't know. But I do appreciate this into opening my eyes into fantasy. Moving on to A Court of Mist and Fury. This is my favorite book. My favorite book. Absolutely loved this book. This is my #1. I finished it and immediately wanted to reread it. I have never had the feelings I had reading a book before. It was so beautiful. I loved, this is what I'm gonna say his name wrong, Rhysand, because Rhys just sounds dumb to me. I prefer Rhys. when I was reading it, I was Rhysand. I don't know, Rhys, that just sounds so stupid to me, so I'm not gonna be referring to him as that. He is Rhysand. His and Feyre's story, just beautiful. I loved it. I loved the slow burn. I loved that it really showed them as she's still considering him an enemy at the beginning, and why do I have to come with you? Why am I having to spend my time with you? And I love how it's showing us that Tamlin, we think he's this good guy, and then boom, he shows us a whole different side of him and a whole different side to Feyre, and she's who is this man that I'm supposed to marry that I thought I loved? And I just loved seeing her struggle with oh, I love him, but wait, I think I'm getting feelings for Rhysand. Wait, I don't know if I want to be with Tamlin anymore. I don't know what to do. I loved seeing her progress as a character, and I loved seeing Rhysand go from being just this evil villain into like an actually like somewhat decent character. Like just seeing what he did for his friends and family and showing Feyre what he did for his friends and family. I'm calling it a surreal, telling Feyre that they're mates and like her not realizing it, and then seeing how even like greater Ryzan was for not pushing it on her, just not being like, you're my mate, you're my mate, you have to be with me. Just, I don't know, I really loved the storytelling in this book specifically, and just getting to see their relationship grow, and it was just beautiful. I loved it so much. The end killed me when she's like having to pretend like Ryzan put her under his control, under his mind control, and she does love Tamlin and she wants to go back to Tamlin, and just seeing that like between them, and then seeing the king break the bond, I was so scared. And then obviously you find out she's the High Lady, they're married, and the bond didn't get broken, but I was like so nervous. I was like, no, we just had this whole book of them finally together and it just ends like that. I was petrified. But I love this book, and just it was just beautifully written. I just loved finding out about each of them and them sharing their stories together and just growing as a couple together. Beautiful. Now moving on to Wings and Ruin. I actually really enjoyed this book. Like I said, I love an action-packed book, and this I feel like was where the action was with the war and everything. I feel like they could have done more with it, I will say that. However, I do love the writing and the war, and I loved seeing all like more characters come in. Like obviously you have Elaine and Nesta, and you get more of Cassian and Azriel and more. The first part of this one was a little bit hard to get through because she's back with Tamlin again, and obviously she's having to pretend that she loves him and everything. But once she breaks free with Lucian, I loved seeing their little relationship too, like Lucian and Feyre's relationship. I thought that was like really nice to see how she does still care about him, even though he's with Tamlin basically. But I just love this book. This was a really good book. I love the story. I love all the different courts coming together and like learning more about each of the courts. Like that was really cool, like going to Summer Court, seeing some of them, learning more about Day Court and learning more about Winter Court. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So yeah, I love this book. And Ryzan dying, like I kid you not, I like shed a tear because I really thought he was dead and gone. I was like, are you kidding me? This is how it ends? Like I thought they were done in the last book, and now it's this book that they end after they defeat the king. And also Sarah Moss does such a good job at like painting a picture with her writing, that like when they flew up and Miriam and Drakon were coming in, and then they see the 3 ships named after his daughters, I sobbed a little bit just picturing it in my mind. Like this series has stuck with me for like the last few weeks. Like every time I finish a book, I'm just like thinking of the series. I'm thinking of it as if it was a movie. I'm just like replaying it in my mind. When I hear like different songs on my Spotify, I'm like, oh my god, this song would like fit perfectly with this scene from the book. Like she just does such an incredible writing to show the story. Like I don't know how to explain that, but it's like as I was reading it, it was literally just like a movie was playing in my mind. Just beautiful. A Court of Frost and Starlight. I feel like a lot of people have very negative opinions about this because it's a novella. It's much shorter, and like a lot of people just feel like it's not like important. They're like, oh, can I just skip that and go to Silver Flames? I actually enjoyed this. It was hard for me to get into because she's switching from like completely first person perspective basically of Feyre into third person perspective, like with all of the characters, which at the time I didn't realize that was her setting up us to go into Silver Flames, where it's more third person. We're not in Feyre's mind. So that was really like cool to see. When I went on Reddit after finishing the series, I was reading somebody's post about that, and they're like, it's a really good like palette cleanser almost, where you're being taken out of Feyre's mind, where we've been in for 3 books, and now we're going into each character's mind separately, so we can see more of how all the characters interact with each other. So I really did enjoy that because it was cool seeing how each of the characters interacted, how they were doing after the war. I feel like it set it up really well with Nesta's story, because we were seeing from like everybody's point of view how badly basically Nesta was doing, and obviously she redeems herself in Silver Flames. But I really enjoyed it. I loved seeing all the characters interact with each other. I loved seeing, it just felt so wholesome and nice. Like I saw people online calling it like the Hallmark episode or the Christmas episode of like a TV series, where you just have like this nice little book with them enjoying winter solstice and giving gifts, and I really liked it. I thought it was a good book. I apologize for the quality shift if it looks any different. My camera died, so I'm filming on my phone now. Now finally, Silver Flames. If you guys watched my last reading vlog, it was like all about this book. I was reading this book. This one was really hard for me to get into. It took me quite a while. I despised Nesta from the start of the series, and so having a book like solely dedicated to her just killed me, especially because I feel like throughout the book we saw bits and pieces of Feyre and Rysand, like her getting pregnant and that type of stuff, and it would have been so nice to just get more of them too. And then I also like Mor was gone basically the entire book, so that was kind of frustrating too. It's just like I just don't like that it was solely focused on Nesta and Cassian. Like I didn't mind the third person point of view, but I feel like it should have been more like Court of Frost and Starlight, where we had all the characters still, maybe a little bit heavier Nesta, but still everybody else. So anyways, that was like my big issue with it. And then like I said, I despise Nesta. I don't care that she went through all of this rough stuff. I really don't. Like both of her sisters went through everything that she's going through too. They were both turned Fae without their like consent. Feyre didn't consent to be brought back from life and turned Fae. Like, all three of them are going through the same struggles, and it's just like Nesta made it all about herself. Like I'm the only one that's struggling with all this. Everything's about me. And Elaine like did a good thing of pointing that out to her. It's just like everything's about how my trauma is affecting you. It's not about me at all. So like I get it, there's like Nesta defenders, like she did nothing wrong, like she struggled so much, like I see myself in her. I don't care. I could not stand her. She did redeem herself by the end though. I did really enjoy this book. I enjoyed the story, and seeing her character progress as much as it did. She frustrated me though, because it was like as soon as she did something good, she immediately was like, nope, I need to do something bad again. So irritating. I loved Cassian. I loved like hearing more about his story, reading more about his story, seeing like why he is the way he is, which again, like Nesta too, I liked seeing the way she was, like how she grew up, why she did the things that she did. I enjoyed reading about the Valkyries. I think that's how you pronounce it. I loved seeing her get to have friends and everything. Like that was nice, like this little girl group, and she inspired all of these other priestesses and acolytes to start training so that they can fight. I enjoyed that. I do feel like the ending was just a little bit lackluster for me. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. I thought it was a good ending, but I just personally feel like this was such a thick book for really not a ton to happen, if that makes sense. Like I know she did the blood right, and like they had to get through that and everything. It just felt like it was a really long book for like no reason basically. The way it ended was just like, okay, great, that's awesome. So I don't know, I did enjoy reading the book. Overall, I absolutely loved the series. I'm so incredibly happy that I finally read it and finally like pushed through Court of Thorns and Roses and was like, you know what, I want to pick up the rest of the series, because it genuinely is such a good series, like all together. Like the books individually, yes, some of them are better than others, but overall it's an incredible series, and her writing style, Sarah Maas's writing style, is just spectacular. I love it so much. I love the way that she's just able to paint a literal movie in your head while she's writing, so you're reading and watching a movie at the same time basically. I love the detail she puts into her characters, the detail that she puts into the world building, and all of that is just so beautiful. I love that all the characters had some character development, and we got to see that and witness it as it was happening. So yeah, I loved the series so much. I think it was a phenomenal series. Okay, so based on least to most favorite, we're gonna start with my least favorite, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm sorry. And then we're gonna do A Court of Frost and Starlight, because like I said, I did like this book. I thought it was a great palette cleanser to jump from Wings and Ruin to Silver Flame, but it's not my favorite book. I wouldn't reread it again. And then we're gonna do Court of Silver Flames. This again wasn't a bad book either, but like I said, it wasn't my favorite. Like, I think between the three of these, I would be more likely to reread this one before the other two. Wings and Ruin, I know I raved about this. The action-packed just story of it all, just building up to the war, was beautiful. I would definitely reread this one, but my absolute favorite book of the series is Court of Mist and Fury. I literally wanted to reread this the second I finished it. Like, I got to the last page and I wanted to flip back to the first page to reread it. My all-time favorite book so far. So yeah, this is how I would rank the Acotar series. Let me know what your guys' rank is if you've read this series. Which is your favorite book? Which is your least favorite book? How you would rank them. Let me know your thoughts on the series as well, if you've read it, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, and any other recommendations for series that you have. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.